Happy Thursday. So for today, there is a science and history assignment for today. So the science one, you are going to be, it's a video about the 12 days of evolution. So in class, we usually go a little bit more into detail and we take the time to talk about what is evolution. I'm not asking for you to accept it and say it is fact, that this is 100%. That's why I watched that video on what is a theory. Evolution is a theory, which means there's a lot of evidence to support it. It's not a fact. No one was there when this happened, but there's a lot of evidence to support it. So we're learning just a teeny bit about that. In class, we go in a little more detail because we're able to have better conversations about that, but I at least wanted you to have like little bits and pieces. That's why we did the peppered moth and also your living fossil, and then you made a creature out of that because we were talking about adaptations and how that affects natural selection. Big reminder is that organisms cannot change within their lifetime. The ones that survive are the ones that pass on their genes. So that's how a population changes. It's not like, the pocket mouse woke up and decided it needed to have different colored hair to be able to survive in its environment. Pocket mice don't have salons to go to. So the ones that survive are the ones that best fit their environment. Because they survive, they're able to reproduce and pass along their genes. So that's a little bit for science. We're just going to barely touch on that, just so you have a little exposure to it. But again, it is a theory, and that's what we're looking at it for. If you have me for history, what we're doing today is there are some Ed puzzles, and it's Monroe, Madison, and John Quincy Adams, and it gets a little bit into Andrew Jackson for their presidencies. So you did there's a quizzes and some slides that you did on Tuesday with that. Today's kind of getting into it and talking about a few other things that happened during each of their presidencies. So check those out. Make them look nice. We gave you the longer chunks of week in here because they might take a little bit longer, right? We're hoping that they really don't, but those would be due by Monday. So for science or history for me, Monday at 3:15, or honestly, like I've told you, I check it at 9 o'clock the next day after I say it's due. So in this case, it would be 9 o'clock on Tuesday is really when I'm going to start looking at it. So please let me know if you have any questions. If you haven't responded to, I posted a question. We will be finishing Zach's lie, the read aloud I had sent out on the moment with Maratik. And it'll be finishing up probably like Tuesday, Wednesday-ish of next week. I think is about where we're at. So I posted a question of, should we continue? I've got the sequel. I do have a few others. Or do I have people that they're like, I don't really watch it, so we don't need to. Just give me some feedback so I know what I should continue with, if I should, which I should, all of that. So what I wanted to talk about today, this is one, if you please have the time, pay attention today to this little skill, because this isn't just like, nice to know how to make your bed skill. This is like, you probably want to know this. This is talking about like personal protective equipment, or PPE. What that means is it's talking about like face masks or how you are protecting yourself, if you're wearing gloves and all of that. And my parents both work in labs, so I grew up living this. And as I've gone out to the community or I see people doing things online, it makes me cringe inside. I want you guys to have the information of why I'm cringing inside so that you're not getting yourself more sick even though you're trying to do the best. So the first one is if you have a face mask. Now, I put this in a baggie for a reason. You're going to see I've got like a little demo here in just a minute. But if you wear a face mask, you can reuse these. This is how you do not store it when you get home. If it is a cloth one that you've made at home, then go ahead and throw that in the wash as soon as you get home. If it's one like this, set it somewhere it can dry. Set it somewhere, if you don't have a place you can set it to dry, put it in a paper bag, not a plastic bag. There's a very specific reason I have a plastic bag here, and you'll see in like 3 minutes. The thing you need to remember though is if this has been on your face, out here is now dirty and contaminated. So if you take this off your face and you're touching this on the outside, you've literally done no good whatsoever because you've just touched everything that you were trying not to breathe in. So think about that. Same with like your clothes, everything around you. Whatever is on the outside is where germs or whatever can exist. So if you touch this as soon as you come back, all of the good intentions you had are now erased. You can reuse this. Just put it in a paper bag. Don't touch the front of it. If it's a cloth one that you've made, put it in the wash and don't touch other things with it. Don't let it touch your other clothes. Put it right in the wash. Okay, or maybe even give it a load of itself. But think of that. The second one is there's a lot of people, they're like, I got this hacked, I'm gonna wear gloves. I don't need to worry then. I don't have any gloves. The ones I do have are at school, but I think I can still make this a pretty good example. So people are going about, they are touching car keys, touching their phone when they're out and about, okay? You know, maybe you're going somewhere and you're gonna pay with something, okay? You got your gloves and you're like, oh, I'm good. I'm gonna bring this phone home. I touched it with my gloved hands. I better sanitize this when I bring it home because otherwise what was on my gloved hands is now on my phone. If I touch those keys with my gloved hand, the glove is just a barrier. It's not a magical, like everything's sanitized that touches it. This scares me when I've gone to some restaurants to pick up food. They swipe my credit card with their gloved hand. They hand me my drink with the same hand. They hand me my food with the same hand. The same hand that has touched money. The same hand that has touched their touch screen. They are protected, but now I'm not. You might not be. And if this is you, you need to, what the bigger thing is a glove is just a barrier. It's not actually a magic anything. You need to either change that glove often or wash your hands, or something that could be done is like, I'm going to use only my left hand to touch cards and to touch money, which is still not great because I can still pass off whatever I've touched to the next person when they come through the drive-through. But if you're going to, it's closer, but then one hand that's clean, that's only going to touch the food materials. You're using both hands, you're protecting yourself, but no one else. Now, this is where it's also a problem, and I'm in my kitchen for a reason. Okay, so now maybe it's you. You're like, you know what, I am going to be a good person. I'm still not understanding what you're saying, Miss Maratik, so this is dumb. Okay, here's an example. This is going to be kind of gross. Okay, I have ketchup on my hands. Okay, consider this as germs. Let's say I did put my gloves on and now the ketchup is the germs on the other side. Would you touch your keys with your germy hands? Probably not. Would you touch your face mask? Okay, so now I've just gone to the store. I've been out and about and I've been breathing it in. This is why I have it in a plastic bag. Look at the ketchup that is now on the outside of it. If you touch that face mask when you come home, you're touching all of those germs. The people who are at like the different restaurants, if they are touching it with their dirty hands, there's now germs on the outside because the hands were not washed between people, between germs. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Make sure you are washing your hands. Gloves are not magic. They're not magical wet wipes that sanitize everything they touch. They're just a barrier. Your face mask is just a barrier. It's great to have this personal protective equipment, but it's not good if you can't use it well. It's not going to help you. Please, I want to make sure every single one of you, I don't know if we're coming back to school at the end of this year or not. If we are, I want to see every single one of you happy and healthy. If not, I want to see you in high school happy and healthy as well. I don't want you to get sick. I want to make sure you know this, okay? So think about that when you go out. Think about that when you're doing anything related to this so that you are keeping yourself safe, okay? So big things, do not store your mask in a plastic bag. When you come home after wearing it, don't touch the front. Wash your hands. Gloves are not magic. They're there to protect a layer, but they're not magic. They're not gonna magically sanitize everything you touch. So if I would, with my ketchup hands now, I'm sorry, I wanna give you an example, but I'm not gonna go that far. If I touch my hands with my ketchupy hand, or if I touch things with my ketchupy hands, am I touching my phone with my germy hands, right? It would be all over my phone now, all over my keys now. It's all over anything you touch then, okay? Please let me know if you have questions. I want you to be happy, healthy, and safe. That's my first priority. You guys can do some really good things. I'm hoping this will help. Have a great day, guys. Bye.